there's a part of me that wants to stay obsessed and stressed and addicted to productivity. I wasn't thriving at either of my two jobs because I was trying to do everything. I wasn't like, yay, I quit, like I'm taking social media full time. Like it wasn't like that. I just felt so ashamed. Or maybe I just have to accept that what I'm doing is enough for me. Okay. I've noticed when this obsession kicks in, a trigger, if you will, is when I think about money goals. When I think I want to make 70K or 100K and then I work backwards. Okay, how am I going to get there? More uploads means more AdSense, more copywriting hours, more shifts. All of that leads to do more, which translates in my brain to you're not doing enough. Suddenly, even though I'm exhausted, busy, etc., I'm not doing enough. It will never be enough. 100K will turn into 200K and so on. And what's the point of earning more if you aren't enjoying every day? What's the point of being your own boss or working in a creative field if you can't even allow yourself to enjoy it? I wrote that on April 26, 2023, so a little over a year ago, and I did not know this note was in my phone, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed a year from now, and the title of that note is Video Obsessed with Productivity, which I never filmed, and I'd had the idea for that video even before writing that note a year ago. I think this has been a theme that I've been exploring and reflecting on my own. I probably 2 or 3 years now, but seeing that put in writing from 1 year ago to how I've been feeling lately, and pretty much around the same time of year, like we're early May right now, that was late April, and seeing that I'm feeling the same way and that I haven't really done anything to change it is insane. And yeah, I just found that video when I was looking for my notes I just found that note when I was looking for my notes to film this video, and I was so shook when I saw that. There's kind of nowhere for me to hide from this plant. It's like really intense. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Zoe, and today we're going to be doing a Sunday chat. Sunday chats are these long, hopefully long, unfiltered chatty videos about one or many topics here on my channel, where I just kind of speak from the heart, and I love for it to be a discussion. I love for you guys to chime in the comments with how you're feeling about what we are talking about. If you are new, I would love for you to subscribe, and whether or not you're new, please give this video a thumbs up because it really supports my channel. If you like honest and unfiltered and kind of vulnerable content, then yeah, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and here we are, let's get into it. I am feeling nervous for this video, you guys. You just saw me make a tea and I like drank it so fast. So we're hands-free for this video, and like I just said, this video has been a really, really long time coming. And I think the reason I've never made this video is because it's hard to admit these kind of not so nice sides of yourself, or sides of yourself that you're not proud of. And the other thing I think that's been keeping me from admitting it is, you guys know I'm an open book, and I've been making videos for many, many years now, talking about so many things. And I feel like for myself personally, I grow through making YouTube videos, and I also grow through watching YouTube videos and watching other girls on similar journeys to my own or different. But I find a lot of comfort in YouTube, both as a viewer and as a creator. And if we take my money journey, for example, it started with me admitting that I had a problem with spending, admitting that I was living paycheck to paycheck. And from there, I grew on camera, and I learned on camera, and we did everything together. This, however, is an area where I think there's a part of me that doesn't want to change. There's a part of me that wants to stay obsessed and stressed and addicted to productivity because I think that it will bring me results and it will bring me to my dream life. But however, there's another part of me that knows that that is not the case and I really need to change. So today's video is going to be kind of like confessions of a productivity addict, which might sound really weird. Yeah, let's rewind, okay? Let me get settled. Let's rewind. We're here to chat. I don't even have tea anymore. I just have water. I love this background. I'm really, really happy with it. I'm sitting in my little filming corner. I went all out on the hair and makeup today to kind of motivate me and give me no choice but to film this video. I don't usually get so dolled up for filming just because like I'm kind of lazy in that sense. But yeah, I like curled my hair and I've been actually in such a good mood today because I'm preparing for anyone who doesn't know, I teach fitness classes, group fitness, and I'm preparing a playlist for a themed class of Y2K bangers, and man, these are real bangers. So I've just been listening to the playlist all morning as I've like done my morning and got ready and stuff. So if you guys want like a feel-good playlist, I'll link it down below. I'll link my Spotify so you can check it out if you want to be in a good mood, because yeah, that's definitely been putting me in a good mood. Today is the day, and today has to be the day that I film this video because I need to move on from it. I feel like I've been holding back like a little secret and just some stuff that I've been going through in the background from my videos, and it's been holding me back from vlogging and making Sunday chats and just being the YouTuber that I want to be. So even though I'm like feeling great today, we're going to talk about this subject that makes me not feel so great. And I hope that's good because maybe it'll keep this video from like, not that I think the video is going to be depressing, but I don't know. So hi, my name is Zoe and I'm addicted to productivity. I love it. I love being productive. Nothing makes me happier than checking off a to-do list, checking off items on a to-do list. I love making money. I love working. I love all of those things. And I think on the surface, all of those things sounds very positive. You would hear someone say certain things like that about themselves and you would think, wow, maybe that person's got it together. That person has drive, that person has ambition. And yeah, maybe that's a part of it. But I think for myself, I've definitely taken it too far. There's also an element of like masculine versus feminine in all of that. Like I feel like it's less common for women to say they love money and they love making money, but like when a man says it, it's a good thing. So that's like another aspect I think that's tied into this that I don't think we're really gonna get into today because I haven't gone into that too much. But yeah, I love productivity, and I think, you know, at the base of it, loving productivity is a good thing. However, just like anything, just like exercise, just like nutrition, anything positive can turn into a negative when we take it too far. And I know for a fact that I have definitely tied my self-worth to productivity. I feel better about myself and I feel best about myself when I have had a productive day. If a day wasn't super productive, I will typically say that it was a bad day. I will say that it wasn't a great day. I will not go to bed feeling happy with myself. In fact, I'll go to bed feeling very disappointed in myself. This is something that's been true for a really long time, but I've only kind of noticed it being a problem in the last couple of years, and I will flow in and out of considering it a problem and then sometimes considering it like great. Like in the beginning, I really thought that this is what made me great and that this is what was going to make me a successful person and, you know, help me achieve my goals and help me live my dream life. And I think I always thought like, okay, I'm just gonna hustle right now and eventually I'll be able to calm down. But I have hit certain goals like that I wanted to hit, and things that I told myself, when I achieve this, I'll calm down. When I achieve that, I'll calm down. For example, when I was really serious about paying off my debt, especially like my student debt when I was a little bit younger, when I was like 22, 23, I was working full time, I was doing YouTube, and I had a side hustle working in a gym. And I was like, no, it's worth it. I'm paying off my debt. And once I pay off my debt, I'll be able to relax. But once I paid off my debt, I didn't really relax. I started spending more money. I started wanting to make more money. Like I didn't allow myself to relax. So it's like, I'll use productivity and I'll use like an end goal as kind of like a bribe. And then when I get to that goal, I just give myself a new one. Like I never sit back and soak it in or anything like that. I guess I could go on and on telling you guys like all of these weird habits that I have and these weird things that I do. And, you know, even as I'm talking about it, I don't like, when I envision who I would like to be and like, you know, what do I want to kind of achieve from tapering down the productivity, it's not being a slob, and it's not sitting on the couch and watching TV 24/7, and it's not working. It's not never being productive. It's just having a healthier relationship with work and productivity and with myself, because tying your self-worth to productivity is like, it's just a recipe for disaster. You're gonna have days where things go wrong. You're gonna have days that just kind of suck. You're gonna have days where, like I remember at work when I worked a corporate job, there would be days where I'd be waiting for stuff from other people in order to do my job. And I think that happens to a lot of us in our work. Like we hit these little roadblocks, and I wouldn't know what to do with myself. And, you know, I'm waiting for someone else. And then I would just feel bad about myself. I'd say like, oh, you just suck. Like you didn't have a productive enough day. Or like, you don't deserve to rest tonight. Like, let's say the person would send me what I needed at the end of the day. So I didn't work super hard all day. I would force myself to work at night or over the weekend in order to make up for the lack of productivity that I had during the 9-to-5 work day. You're gonna have things that are out of your control that don't allow you to be productive. And so should you think badly about yourself? Do you deserve to think badly about yourself? Or do you deserve to still think well of yourself and that you had a good day, regardless of how productive you were? Yes, of course. So yeah, I think part of my journey, like moving on from this and healing from this, is going to be building up my self-esteem and building up my self-worth outside of money and productivity realm. So what has triggered this lately? I want to tell you guys about just this personal thing that I went through kind of March and April. So let me set the stage for you guys. This is like March and April, like it was like very, very recently. So I'm working full-time as a YouTuber, and I think a lot of people think like being an influencer, being a content creator, being a YouTuber, like, oh, it's so easy. Maybe for some people it is. For me, it's not. I put so much time, like hours and hours of time into filming and editing and thinking about my videos, and I put my whole heart into them. And, you know, just if we're talking just on the clock, it takes me a long time. It takes me a really long time to edit. Maybe that means I'm doing something wrong. Maybe my software is outdated. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, whatever the reasons may be that it takes me so long to edit, it takes me a long time to edit. I make long videos, so that takes a long time to edit. Then I watch them back. Then I wait for them to upload. Then I make a thumbnail. Then I workshop the title and I workshop the thumbnail. So I really just put a lot into my videos, and I love it. Like I would love to spend every day editing videos, and I'm not at the point yet where it completely pays my bills. So I'm not at that point yet, but I'm getting there, which is incredible. So yeah, pretty much like YouTube is a full-time job to me, or almost a full-time job, and I'm working towards it being the thing that can pay all of my bills. So it takes a long time. I then have another job working as a freelance copywriter. At the moment, I only have one client, but this client I've been working with for over 2 years now. We have a great relationship. I really enjoy working with them. I enjoy the work. I think I enjoy the people a little bit more than the work. Like I really love the people that I'm working with. The work can sometimes be a little bit dry. It's very, very corporate, but it's still enjoyable. Like I still really like it. I like writing. It comes kind of naturally to me, and it's just a great gig that I have. Like I'm really thankful for it. So I was doing that as well, and that would vary in terms of number of hours per week or number of hours per month. And it was not a full-time, it's definitely like not a full-time source of income for me. I think it could be if I wanted to grow it, but with this client, it's important income supplementation, or it was. important income supplementation to what I do on YouTube. So for a while, I was doing those two main things. And when people would ask me what I do for a living, I would, depending on who the person was, but for the most part, I would say copywriter, just because it's like complicated to explain YouTube and people have like really weird follow-up questions. People will like instantly ask me like, oh, how many subscribers do you have? How much money do you make? Like, how does that work? And it's just, I think people are kind and they're curious, but some people have like, I don't know. I imagine meeting an accountant and the first thing you ask them is how much money they make. Like, it's kind of inappropriate. So I like to just avoid that. And I would just say that I was a copywriter, and I always liked having my copywriting side hustle because in terms of identity, I've always tied my self-worth to, I've always tied my identity and my self-worth to my job. When I graduated university and I worked as a consultant, I was so glad to have this label to identify myself as a consultant because it was, you know, kind of like a prestigious job title, and I thought that it made me look good. I thought that when I introduced myself to people as a consultant, they would think highly of me. So I loved that. And it was like kind of like a safety net away from figuring out like who the hell I really am. And even when I was in university, I would identify as my program. Yeah, I'm studying business. Like, yeah, I'm a business, like business. You know, I identified myself as that. And at my school, there was like this kind of notion, like the business school people, the kids, like we were kind of snobby, and we were like, oh, so I went to Concordia, and there's like Concordia, and then there's the business faculty, which is called John Molson School of Business. And people from JMSB, John Molson School of Business, would not like to say they went to Concordia. They would like to say they went to JMSB. So it was like, oh, I'm not a Concordia student, I'm a JMSB student. That was like, you know, so all these little things. And I think we all do that. Like we all like to put labels on ourselves to help define us, even with what we wear. Oh, I'm wearing a Cezanne sweater. I'm wearing a Gucci shirt. I'm wearing Aritzia, like whatever brand, you know. We all are carrying a designer bag. Like we all like to put labels on ourselves to help us identify a certain way and present ourselves to the world a certain way. So I've always leaned on whatever main thing I was doing, I would just like lean on that to be my identity. When I got laid off from consulting, I was crushed for a number of reasons, but one of them being that who am I if I'm not a consultant? And that was really difficult. But then kind of, I never really fully identified as a YouTuber and never allowed myself to identify as that. And part of that is being shy. Part of that is imposter syndrome, thinking, okay, no, until I have 100,000 subscribers, I can't identify as a YouTuber. Until I make X amount of money per month, I can't identify as a YouTuber. But also a part of this comes from recent, I think, like dialogue online, which is that social media is an easy job. Content creation is an easy job. Being a YouTuber isn't a real job. They don't work hard enough. They're not, like, it's not productive. It's not a real job. I'm sure you guys have seen dialogues like that. Like I see it in people's comments, you know, people like full-time influencers who post like a day in the life. And yeah, sometimes the day in the life is like, it's a Tuesday and it's like, wake up at 11, go for coffee, go to Pilates, come home and watch TV. And it's like, oof, that was exhausting. Like I've seen those videos too. And yeah, like it's very, you want to like roll your eyes. But I think there's also like a big narrative going on online right now that it's like, unless you work a 9-to-5, you don't work hard enough, you don't have a real job, like you don't know what it's like. And it's funny because like then beyond the 9-to-5 is like, oh, well, like I'm a teacher, so like I work harder than you in a 9-to-5. Or I'm a nurse, I work harder than you in a 9-to-5. It's like this competition to have the most demanding job or the most productive job or the most hardest working job. And I know so many people with a 9-to-5 who like don't do anything all day. There were even moments in like my old 9-to-5, not the one I got laid off from, but the one before, where I would not have enough work to fill me all day. And it is astounding how many people I meet or I hear of or I know who don't do that much at their 9-to-5, yet for whatever reason, it is held as the standard of like hardworking and being a regular person and knowing what it is to work hard. So when I no longer had a 9 to 5, even though I was suddenly working harder than I'd ever worked, like literally, working more and longer hours, even though all of that, I still didn't feel like I was being productive unless I had this somewhat corporate label to attach myself to. I didn't like feel good about myself. So I was always so glad to have copywriting. Big circle there, okay? Yeah, the girl can talk herself in circles. But that's why I was so glad to have this copywriting label. Just a quick side note, I think the competition of who's working the hardest is a really weird thing that I feel like it's mostly on social media, but this has also impacted me, and I wanna come back to that. Because that's been a thing that I've done like even since before TikTok. Like I feel like TikTok is like the main place for this conversation of like who's working the hardest to happen. And I feel like it really started in COVID, talking about it online, but I experienced that too, like even in university. So anyways, we'll come back to that. So copywriting kind of anchored me. And last year, like in the fall of 2022, I was feeling really depressed. Copywriting is like a solo gig. Like I work with certain people, but we maybe have 1 or 2 phone calls a week max. So I'm home alone writing, and I'm home alone editing. And sometimes like I'm talking to a camera, but that's the closest I was getting to human interaction, was like filming, talking to a camera, which feels like I'm talking, like I don't just think I'm like talking to myself right now. Like I feel myself talking to people kind of beyond the camera, but you guys don't talk back to me yet until you leave a comment. So I was very alone. So I decided to get a job, basically get my old job back of working in the spin studio. Or the gym, okay? When I was in university, I had a part-time job working at this gym. I did cleaning and I did the front desk. And when I started my corporate job in 2019, I worked 1 shift a week there in exchange for a free gym membership so that I could save money, pay off my debts, blah, blah, blah. I stopped in COVID because the gym had to like shut down temporarily during COVID. And then I didn't go back because COVID was actually, in the grand picture of my like productivity kind of addiction, COVID was like my one respite because my job was not demanding at all during COVID. I was filming YouTube videos, I was relaxing, and there was nowhere to go, nothing to do. And I felt for like the first time in a really long time. So I was pretty good there. And when the gym opened back up, I decided not to take my job back because I enjoyed the rest that I had been experiencing. But over time, that slowly built back up as my YouTube channel grew and as I changed jobs and I changed to a more demanding job, which is the one that I ended up getting laid off from. So a little break during COVID. I think many of us probably felt that break. I think it's so funny when we look back to COVID times, how we were all so confused and it was such a like scary time. And, you know, we would like lean on certain things, I think, to make us feel better. And one of those things that myself and I know many people leaned on was this idea of like, oh, like we've been too fast paced as a society and COVID is here to teach us to slow down. It's forcing us to slow down. And I think we slowed down during COVID. And I think once COVID ended, like once restrictions lifted and stuff, we were back even more full force than before COVID. And I find that so ironic and so hilarious. It's like, we just didn't learn. Like now it's even like turbocharged from what it was before, which is so crazy. Like we were like, oh, it's this grand lesson. It's here to teach us something. Did we listen? No, we didn't. And I myself did not listen either. So because of my loneliness, I got my old job back. I was waking up at 5 a.m. 2 to 3 times a week, working a morning shift at the gym from 6 to about 9, and then starting my day. So I was copywriting, YouTubing, and I had this part-time job. And for a while, like I loved it, and I loved the part-time job because it got me out of the house and I had my free gym membership, but I kind of didn't feel it creeping up on me. And it just got like I was not sleeping enough because I was staying up late to finish work because I was starting my work day later. And I didn't count the part-time job as a real job. And I remember in one video, someone even pointing it out to me. It was like, You worked all morning. Now you go home and force yourself to work a 9 to 5 or a 10 to 6. But I was like proud of myself. And even though I did work 3 hours in the morning, I still felt like I needed a real 8-hour day after the 3 hours, or I wasn't being productive enough. Like that 9 to 5 corporate 8-hour clock is so engraved in me. And unless I hit that 8-hour mark or that 9 to 5 window, I'm not productive and I'm worthless and it was a bad day. Like truly. So I had that job, you know, hustle, whatever. I auditioned to become an instructor at the studio, and I kind of told myself, like I would get these moments of clarity of like, what are you doing? Like, how do you want to be the best copywriter, the best YouTuber, and have this part-time job, and you want to do it all? And I would feel like I was failing at certain things. Like I would feel like I'm so stressed, I'm so tired. My channel isn't growing the way I want it to. I'm missing deadlines for my channel. I'm missing uploads. I've got a backlog of videos to edit. I'm late on my copywriting deadlines. Like I wasn't thriving at either of my 2 jobs because I was trying to do everything. And so I'd have these moments of being like, why isn't it working? And rather than get real and think to myself, oh, I'm doing too much, I would become hard on myself and say, you're not disciplined enough. You're not working hard enough. You don't want it badly enough. It's your fault. You're wrong. Like you need to throw your phone away, get more serious, get more disciplined, you know, focus better, work harder. Like that's what it came down to, was like, I'm not working hard enough. Not like, oh, Zoe, like you're doing too much. Like no shit, you know? Before getting the bar instructor job, I said, if I get the bar instructor job, I will potentially let go of copywriting. And I was like, yeah, okay, I think that makes sense. However, the training for bar took so long and the training was unpaid. So I couldn't just live off of my YouTube earnings. I wouldn't have been able to like pay all of my bills and stuff. So I didn't leave copywriting. I didn't do it. And I also didn't really want to because like I enjoyed it. So there we are. I take on something else, and teaching bar comes with a lot of like learning that you need to do on your own time and a lot of work that you need to do on your own time. It kind of seems like one of those things where you show up at the studio, you teach your class for an hour and then you go home. But there are hours of preparation that go into building that 45-minute class. Then you go and teach it, which I kind of underestimated. So this winter, like around Christmas, I was back in this position. Like I'm finally, okay, I'm like certified. I finished my training. I've got a class on the schedule. And it was like, I was spending all day Friday building a class to then go and teach it for an hour while trying to do copywriting, while doing YouTube. And, around Christmas, New Year's, like it's YouTube's busiest season. It's the season with the most views, the season with, for me at least, the most like partnerships, brand partnerships and stuff. And I was just go, run, running on adrenaline, so stressed, like beating myself up still for like missing a deadline or not doing the best. And I would constantly have these conversations with myself of like, what's wrong with you? Why can't I do it? And again, rather than admit that this is not healthy, this is not sustainable, and rather than admit that you can't be the best, and like this is just such a fact, like you can't be the best at everything. You are the best at where you put your energy, and if you're putting your energy like a little bit everywhere, you're going to achieve results a little bit everywhere. But if you want something, like pour your energy into that. Like if you were doing sports and you're like, I want to be the best tennis player, basketball player, soccer player, and hockey player, and so you do 1 day a week of each, you're not going to improve that much more as if you only did 2 or only did 1, right? It's like that for anything. So yeah, I was trying to run around like that. And rather than realize that or admit that, I would just once again be angry at myself and just be like, no, I'm not disciplined enough. I would always blame it on self-discipline. I'm not a disciplined enough person. And certain other things would fall completely to the wayside. Like I've never worked out. I would not I feel like I would not take good enough care of my dog. Like I would dream of like taking advantage of the flexibility of my work and like taking her to this nice dog park in the middle of the day. So stuff like that. And like with her separation anxiety training, like I would just rather work than do her separation anxiety training. Things like cooking and grocery shopping, like all of those would fall to the wayside. Like I would just do the bare minimum. Like, you know, taking her for a walk nearby, but not giving her like that extra experience of like, and myself too, giving myself the extra experience of going somewhere extra beautiful. So in terms of the personal life, just the bare minimum, like everything work was just the priority. And finally in March, I like snapped and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. So I decided that I was going to stop copywriting and I was going to focus on bar and focus on YouTube. And that was a really scary decision for me because, like I had said, I was really relying on copywriting to be this part of my identity and also the income. Like the income was a very important part of, you know, my monthly paychecks and how I pay my bills, live my life, buy myself little treats, go on vacation, whatever. So I remember the day that I told my boss that like I wouldn't be able to continue doing this. I gave 4 weeks notice and I was so sad after, like, honestly, like instant regret. I was like, did I make a bad choice? He was like surprised and disappointed and he was like, no, like we really like working with you. Like, is there anything we can do to change your mind? And maybe I could have asked for more money. Like maybe there were all these things. And I was really kicking myself after I let go, but I knew it was like probably for the right thing. And I remember talking about it with one of my friends and she was like, why didn't you film this? Like, why didn't you put it on YouTube? And it's because I felt ashamed. Like this wasn't like an exciting quit my job. Like, and it wasn't even like my full job, like it's a contract. But it wasn't like, yay, I quit. Like I'm taking social media full time. Like it wasn't like that. I just felt so ashamed. I felt so ashamed for letting it go because I think in my whole productivity fantasy, I had this fantasy of being one of those girls who can do it all. And we all know that person, whether it's online or in real life, those people who seem like they're able to do it all and handle it flawlessly, who work 2 jobs or who study full-time and work full-time and have a side hustle. Like we all know those people who do it all. And I was, like me in particular, was comparing myself to people who had a more successful YouTube channel than me, who also worked, who had like their corporate job, and maybe like going to school. Like there are YouTubers out there who do so much more than me and who seem so much more successful than me and who seem like happier. And like, this is the narrative I was telling myself in my head, like, oh, these girls can do it, so why can't you do it? Oh, something's wrong with you. Oh, you're not productive enough. You're not good enough. I had to like kind of just realize. And the other thing is like, just from the YouTube perspective, is a lot of YouTubers who do have that traditional 9-to-5, they get so much praise and they're like, oh, you're so relatable. You're so relatable. And like relatable on the internet is like the golden word. But it's funny because I kind of realized like, it's kind of not relatable to have this like blowing up YouTube channel and upload multiple videos per week and have a full-time job on the like us along with that. Like it's kind of not relatable because it's like having 2 full-time jobs. And I feel like no one had ever said that before, and I had that thought. And then really shortly after having that thought, I watched a video from Jenna Hong and she said the same thing, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm not crazy. Like it's true, I'm not crazy. So that like kind of gave me a lot of relief of like, oh yeah, it's not really relatable and it's not super realistic. And I do think some people are just able to handle more than others. And I, you know, blame it on the mental health, whatever. Like I do deal with a lot of anxiety and a lot of mental health things that take up so much of my brain space that it kind of, it's like managing my emotions is like a part-time job for me, which doesn't leave me as much brain room or as much energy to maybe do more. And it's like, maybe I just have to accept that. Or maybe I just have to accept that what I'm doing is enough for me, you know, or I should do less and have that be enough for me. So I left copywriting, but then they came back. They came back and they offered me a deal which was to do less of the sort of day-to-day copywriting, because I would get calls. Like I'd be in the middle of editing a video and I'd get a call saying, hey, can you like do this for us? We need it end of the day. And I would drop what I was doing. And I was always flip-flopping between two things, and then, oh, gotta go teach a bar class. And the jumping around between projects and between jobs was really, really challenging. So they offered me to stay on, not for the day-to-day stuff, but for just like bigger kind of long-term projects, work on it when I have time. So I did agree to stay on for that. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it was a good decision or not. I think financially it was, because summer is a lot slower on YouTube, and like if I'm looking at my forecast, like I would not really be earning enough to make ends meet. Just being like fully transparent with you guys right now. So from a financial point of view, like it's really good that they offered me that. I need to figure out how to balance it and how to properly take the steps back when I need to, and not burn myself out and not do too much, and learn how to relax, which is definitely difficult. So by no means am I sitting here saying like, I did it, I got it. Like this is just me, like, again, doing my like confessions to you guys. And through the new Healing Diaries series that I'm going to be putting out on my channel, this is something that I want to work on, is relaxing more, stressing less, being okay with not being productive, having days where I do nothing, not even laundry, you know, having those days and being okay with it, and learning to love myself, productive or not productive, making money or not making so much money, like learning how to do that. I think it's really, really important. So when I left copywriting, it caused so much turmoil within me. So many feelings of like, why do you need to do this? Like you're not good enough, you're not disciplined enough, like all of those negative thoughts. But then also some compassion from within me, and some like self-therapy of trying to figure out, where does this come from? Like where does this productivity addiction like stem from? Because I wasn't like this as a child, and as a teenager, I was very, very lazy actually. I hated school. I did not give an F about my grades. All I wanted to do was watch TV. I was actually like very depressed. As a teenager, it was really hard time for me. And I remember when I flipped the switch was in high school, was like grade 11, was when I flipped the switch of like, I have to care about my grades and I have to get good grades and like be perfect. It was literally like a full 180 where I went from not even caring if I graduated high school to wanting straight A's. And even maybe a little bit in elementary school, I cared about my grades. Then I went through like a really bad depression as a teenager, and then I started caring again. But it was like this is like some real like deep self-analytics, analyzation. But it was like I took all of the dislike that I had for myself, and I was using my dislike, and I would just be lazy as a way to reinforce that I was going nowhere and that I was worthless. But then I used those negative words to propel me to try and achieve perfection, or try and achieve ultimate productivity of you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. But instead of lying on the couch telling myself that, it was study, work, make money, that kind of thing, because I've been working since I was 15. So maybe that's where it stems from, but obviously it has to go so much deeper. And I think I need to talk about it with a therapist, all of that, because I'm definitely not healed. And yeah, back to what I was saying about the university and the comparison thing. I remember in university when it came to studying, we'd be standing outside the classroom before an exam or before midterm, and people would be like, I stayed up all night studying. I've been sitting for the past week. I didn't sleep. I'm running off Red Bull. I'm running off coffee. And I'd always be jealous of those people. It was whoever could have the most self-discipline to not sleep, or to, only drink coffee, whoever had the most self-discipline to study the most, won in my eyes. And I could never do it because I always needed my sleep. I could not stay up all night. And I didn't like to, and I would get antsy while studying, stuff like that. And I was just always jealous of those people. I was they have it together way more than I do. They're so much better than me because they can study longer. And then that same energy transferred into work. Working as a consultant, it was a competition of who stayed up working the latest, who worked the most hours. Like, it's always been that competition. And then now it's been taken online, not even from people in my comments. Like, I'm always worried about people in my comments being like, oh, this girl doesn't work. Like, I always feel like in my videos, I have to justify how hard I'm working, which is like, you don't. And it used to be that online people were trying to portray this like very leisurely life, and the aspiration was like to be very leisure, like 4-hour work week, you know, optimal, and like not even working. And it's like now it's become this competition of, at least from what I'm seeing and from the ways that I read and interpret comments and stuff, it's like this competition of who can work the hardest, who, you know, has the most demanding job. Like I said, it's just crazy. So yeah, to tie it back to what I talked about at the beginning, which is that note, tying it back to money, I do think money and me chasing a feeling of security that comes from money plays a big role in this, that like I need to work harder to make more money to feel more secure. I think that plays a huge role. And that's something that's a little bit harder to kind of unravel, because I do get a sense of security, I think we all do, from finances. Like when we know that our bills are paid, when some of our wants are met, when all of our needs are met, we feel that security. And when we feel like we're saving for our future, when I feel like I'm able to save for my future because the future terrifies me, I feel a sense of security. So there's also needing to worry less about finances in order to give myself some breathing room to relax a little bit more. But I definitely have a lot of work ahead of me. I realized this video was so rambly and all over the place, but I'm sure some of you guys can relate, because I know from my comments and from different Q&As that we've done that this is something you guys struggle with, as well as like beating yourself up when you haven't felt productive enough, which when I read stuff like that, I'm like, no, you don't need to do it. And then like I do the same thing. So I hope that this is something we can work on together. I really want to thank you for watching this video, taking time out of your day to sit and chat with me. I feel like I've laid it all out there, and I'm like, whew. So it's time to move forward. And I don't think it's going to be linear. I think it's going to be tricky, but TBD, to be figured out. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I love you. I will stop talking now. And once again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right. Bye.